Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1199. Xiaoqi was shocked. Draw upon fate? What do you mean? Xiao Shi replied, It's fate. That powerhouse that couldn't be any more ancient should be from the same generation as the Grim Reaper. Xiaoqi gasped. There's more than just the Grim Reaper in that generation? Xiao Shi seriously replied, There are other ancient powerhouses as well, but for some reason they're all gone. Lu Yin didn't want to continue this conversation. The story was pretty good. The Grim Reaper and fate sounded more and more mysterious, and it wasn't as convincing as the Starsabil sect's story. However, the name fates and was rather mystical. Ding. Lu Yin's gadget beeped. He looked over and saw that 7th Bro's name had changed from a 5-star Perceptive Intermediate to a 1-star Boundless Advanced. He had succeeded. At the same time, he received a constant stream of congratulatory messages from various parties. He had received these messages when he had reached the Perceptive Intermediate level, or rather he had received more each time he had advanced, but he had never paid attention to them. However, there was one piece of news that made him happy. He had a planet in the Lockbreaker realm. Any Lockbreaker who had reached the Boundless Advanced level could obtain a planet upon arriving at the Neoverse Lockbreaker realm. Saul could obtain one as well, but he had never been to the Neoverse before, so he naturally didn't have one. The planet that Lu Yin had obtained was in a very good location, right next to Gui Juanheng's planet and very close to the ancient Spirit Sea. Lu Yin brought Xiao Shi and Xiaoqi to the planet. So it's this planet, Xiaoqi said. Xiao Shi was puzzled. You know about it? Xiaoqi nodded. This planet originally belonged to a 3-stars Boundless Advanced Lockbreaker. I've seen him a few times and he's always outside. However, after the 6th Mainland's invasion he never returned. The Lockbreaker Society has added him to their death list. Lu Yin was conflicted. Too many people had died during the 6th Mainland's invasion, and he hadn't seen many of them. However, there were many who had died throughout the human domain. The 6th Mainland owed the 5th Mainland too much blood. Perhaps this was also why they had moved to the Outerverse. Only the Outerverse had fewer blood debts as the Innerverse could not accommodate them. On the planet, all of the Lockbreaker's belongings had long since been taken away. Lu Yin was the only person who lived on the planet, along with a few mechanical servants. There were very few ordinary people in the Lockbreaker world, and those who came were all Lockbreakers. Many powerful Lockbreaker servants were actually their students. Lu, big brother Lu, are you going to recruit students? Xiaoqi asked, looking very expectant. Xiao Shi's eyes lit up as she looked at Lu Yin. Lu Yin laughed. So what if I do? We can help you find one. Xiaoqi was eager to give it a try. Exams were very fun. Lu Yin shook his head. There's no need. I'll be heading back to the Outerverse soon and I don't come here often. Xiaoqi was disappointed. You guys have fun. I'm going into seclusion to unlock the source boxes that I obtained before, Lu Yin said. Xiaoqi looked at Lu Yin. What kind of source box? Do you have any humanoid ones? Lu Yin shook his head, but then he was surprised. There's even a humanoid source box? Xiaoqi and Xiao Shi looked at each other and nodded. I've never seen such a source box before. What kind of source box is this? Lu Yin was curious. Xiaoqi's expression was serious. He's human, but he might not be a good person. Lu Yin did not understand. Xiao Shi tugged at Xiaoqi and whispered into his ear. Xiaoqi nodded from time to time and then looked at Lu Yin. Big brother Lu, you're now a Boundless Advanced Lockbreaker. After all, he had inherited the 13 swords. However, Li Zimo's swordsmanship had left everyone speechless. This person might be able to challenge Lu Xiaoqiu. Clap, clap, clap. Lu Yin applauded and praised, as expected of the sword sect. Even a random disciple has amazing swordsmanship. He then looked at Lu Shen. This disciple is called Li Zimo? Lu Shen retracted his gaze from Li Zimo and looked at Lu Yin. That's right. He's the only disciple of our sect's elder Lianxin. Does Alliance Master Lu like him? Elder Lianxin? Lu Yin was puzzled. Lu Shen explained, Elder Lianxin is an elder who is second only to the sect master. She's also an emissary. Lu Yin was shocked. So she's an emissary. No wonder she could train such an outstanding disciple. I'm impressed. Lu Shen smiled and glanced at Li Zimo again. Lu Yin looked back at Li Zimo. I hope we can meet during the Supreme Tournament. That sword was very interesting. Li Zimo looked at Lu Yin and narrowed his eyes. Do you want to experience it? The atmosphere froze. Lu Shen immediately reprimanded, impudent. Alliance Master Lu is not someone you can challenge. He's one of the 10 Arbiters and he defeated Lan Si, the Divine Fist and Jinwu of the 10 Arbiters. He shone brilliantly in the Neoverse, and he's someone who has truly stepped onto the highest stage of humanity. If you want to challenge Alliance Master Lu, then you'll never be able to do so in this lifetime. Lu Yin's eyes flashed as this Lu Shen was trying to make enemies for him. Any normal person would not be convinced by such words, but this person was hiding a knife behind his smile. If you want to make a move against me, of course. I'll take it anytime. Lu Yin smiled. Li Zimo gave Lu Yin a deep look before lowering his head and ignoring him. Lu Shen apologetically said to Lu Yin, Alliance Master Lu, I failed to discipline him properly. When we return to the Sword Sect, I'll definitely report this to Elder Lianxin so that she can punish him. He then scanned the crowd. Why aren't you leaving? What are you still doing here? The Sword Sect disciples retreated one by one. Lu Ling stood there in a daze as she was pulled away by the other Lu family disciples. Before the disciples could leave, Elder Li appeared, dressed in blood-red robes. The Sword Sect disciples immediately bowed. Greetings, Elder Li. Greetings, Elder Li. Elder Li calmly looked at Lu Yin. Alliance Master Lu, you've seen my Sword Sect's juniors compete. Shouldn't you show them some of your skills? When they heard Elder Li's words, many of the Sword Sect disciples grew excited. It would not be easy for one of the 10 Arbiters to take action. Li Zimo looked at Lu Yin. Lu Yin smiled. Elder Li, do you wish to have a spar with this junior? Elder Li's brows rose. You wish to spar with me? Lu Yin's lips curled up. I wouldn't dare to spar with you, but I'm just bragging. Of all the people here, who else besides Elder Li can force me to take action? Lu Ling and the other Lu family disciples were enraged. How arrogant. This is enough to show that the prices and living conditions of Extreme Ice City during that era were very valuable. Lu Yin was puzzled. Has there never been a war in Extreme Ice City for so many years? The Ice Emperor shook his head and thought for a moment before replying seriously, the Ice Emperor of Extreme Ice City has only one descendant, and they are all my ancestors. The Ice Emperor's power surpasses that of an emissary, and the rest of the people living in Extreme Ice City do not have anyone stronger than an emissary. We also have an army called the Humble Army. When the City Lord is not around, the Humble Army is enough to suppress everything. That is why Extreme Ice City has never had a war since ancient times. Lu Yin understood. It was like a lion suppressing a flock of sheep, and the sheep did not dare to move. He looked at the Ice Emperor strangely. If there was only one descendant of the Ice Emperor, how could he guarantee that everyone could reach the emissary level? This question was very important, but Lu Yin did not ask. City Lord Ice Emperor, this is not the history I want to see. I want to see the reason why the Royal Frost Continent cannot be moved. The Ice Emperor's eyes flashed. Alliance Master Lu, please follow me. He then walked towards the deepest part of the city. Lu Yin followed behind. End of chapter. Brother Wei is frozen. Where's 7th bro? Xiao Yangshuan looked outside. He's helping the Royal Frost Continent. Ku Wei was puzzled. Helping? 7th bro will help? Xiao Yangshuan replied, since you're awake then go out for a walk. This is Zenith Ice City, so don't cause trouble. You're the one causing trouble. Brother Wei is the kindest. I'm going to look for 7th bro. Xiao Yangshuan stopped him. Wait. His Highness will naturally return when he's done. Ku Wei stared at Xiao Yangshuan. You guys didn't do anything to 7th bro, did you? I'm warning you, 7th bro has a great background. Even the Sword Sect and the Hall of Honor's 9 directors wouldn't dare to do anything to him, let alone you guys. Xiao Yangshuan arrogantly replied, if you did anything to His Highness, then why would we keep you around? Do you think that you're worth more than His Highness? Yan Yan, are you itching for a beating? Ku Wei gritted his teeth. Xiao Yangshuan looked at Ku Wei. You can't beat me. I've recovered my memories and my power level has also recovered. It's over 300,000. Ku Wei was stunned. You have a power level of over 300,000? Xiao Yangshuan placed a hand on Ku Wei's shoulder and forcefully pushed him back. Either rest or walk. Don't cause trouble. He then walked out. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1222. The blazing mist flow zone was very large, and it was one of the 8 flow zones closest to the outerverse. Many of the innerverse transactions came from the blazing mist flow zone. Outer space was vast and boundless, and no matter how many people there were, it was very difficult to spot a spacecraft in many of the regions. The chances of 2 spacecraft meeting were not high, but in the blazing mist flow zone, the chances of that happening were many times higher. On this day, a spaceship met with another spaceship. Then a battle broke out. The spacecraft that was attacked was from the Blaze Realm. No one in the blazing mist flow zone dared to attack a spacecraft from the Blaze Realm, as the attacker was from the Tinder Alliance. The battle quickly ended, and there was only one person left alive in the Blaze Realm spacecraft. Both of his arms had been severed, and he lay on the ground, staring in despair at the dozens of cultivators from the Tinder Alliance who had surrounded him. You just wait. The Blaze Realm won't let you off. The Blaze Realm cultivator on the ground roared. His sinister appearance was terrifying. At that moment, a man walked over with a cruel smile on his face. Do you still remember me? Senior brother? The Blaze Realm cultivator lying on the ground looked at the man and was shocked. Third bro, how are you still alive? The man laughed heartily and looked down at the Blaze Realm cultivator. How am I still alive? Are you surprised? That's right, I survived. Back then, we agreed to split the resources equally, but you killed second bro and fourth bro and threw me into outer space. How can a Lemeter survive in outer space? Fortunately, I was saved by the Tinder Alliance. The Blaze Realm cultivator stared at the man in a daze and then laughed bitterly. So that's how it is. No wonder you attacked me. Was it all because of you? The man squatted down and stared at the Blaze Realm cultivator. That's right. I've been watching you for a long time. The Blaze Realm cultivator closed his eyes. Kill me, but don't forget that you're also from the Blaze Realm and know how terrifying they are. You rats from the Tinder Alliance can't hide from us. Even if you escape to the outerverse, you won't be able to survive. The man laughed maniacally and slapped the Blaze Realm cultivator's face, leaving a red and swollen mark. Under the Blaze Realm cultivator's sinister gaze, the man proudly said, The Blaze Realm won't be arrogant for long. Let me tell you something that you won't be able to rest in peace. He paused and then lowered his voice. The Tinder Alliance has found the entrance to the Royal Frost continent, and it's on planet. The city lord is already dead, and there isn't a single enlighter with their power of the world. The Blaze Realm cultivator's eyes. The Blaze Realm, the man, don't you know that the Royal Ice continent has a secret technique? The Blaze Realm cultivator's eyes narrowed. What did you say? The man smiled cruelly. The Royal Frost continent has a secret technique that the natives don't even know about. Our Tinder Alliance accidentally wandered into the continent and saw it. That's the secret technique. The Royal Frost continent doesn't know about it, but we do. We'll be able to obtain it soon, and when that time comes, how will the Blaze Realm resist us? The Blaze Realm has too many enemies, and it's even an enemy of the Outerverse Great Eastern Alliance. When the time comes, we'll cooperate with the Great Eastern Alliance and use the secret technique to easily exterminate the Blaze Realm. The Blaze Realm cultivator stared at the man in a daze. The Royal Frost continent really has a secret technique? Of course. Those natives don't even know that it's a secret technique. They think that it's an ancient document. Zhu had fought with the Frost Emperor before, and he was very difficult to deal with. Was there really a secret technique? As he recalled the various rumors about the Royal Frost continent, Zhu suddenly recalled that the previous sect master had said that the Royal Frost continent seemed to be protecting something from an ancient era. If it was as the previous sect master had said, then there might be a secret technique. The Royal Frost continent had always been sealed, so it was reasonable that they could not recognize the technique. The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Zhu made a prompt decision. Gather the Heavenly Fire Army. Target Gu Planet. Even if the Royal Frost continent did not have a secret technique, it was worth it to take this opportunity to eliminate this hidden danger. The Blaze Realm had wanted to destroy the Royal Frost continent more than once. Yes, Sect Master. Koan Ban was overjoyed. This was his subordinate's contribution, which was why he could directly report to the Sect Master. If he succeeded, his status would rise greatly and his future would be limitless. Gu Planet belonged to the Blaze Realm and was located at the southern border of the Blaze Realm. It was close to the Sylvan Dragon clan and coincidentally not far from the Ross Empire. It was equivalent to the intersection of the 3 powers. Once upon a time, the Royal Frost continent. This chapter is not finished. Please turn the page. The continent was exposed. Its location was not on Gu planet, but it was not far from it. Of course, only the Blaze Realm, the Ross Empire, and the Sylvan Dragon clan's higher-ups knew of this information. This was also the basis for Zhu Zhu to confirm the authenticity of the information. The lower-level people would not know the location of the Royal Frost continent. Cold air spread from the void crack. Gu planet, including the surrounding space, was frozen white. The starry sky was like a frozen river of stars that spread far and wide. Outside the river of stars, spacecraft from the Blaze Realm descended and surrounded the area. Zhu Zhu had already appeared outside the frozen river of stars and was looking at the void crack with his hands clasped behind his back. He was a cautious person, and the Royal Frost continent's existence had not been exposed for so many years. Whether it was because of the City Lord's death or for some other reason, even if he was certain that he was invincible, he would not rashly enter the Royal Frost continent. With that thought in mind, he ordered, "Burn the Royal Frost continent." The Blaze Realm was most proficient in flames, and following Zhu Zhu's orders, endless flames spread out. They first melted the frozen starry sky and then burned the surrounding planets, causing many of them to collapse, including Gu planet. Fortunately, no one lived on the surrounding planets, and they were not suitable for human habitation. The Blaze Realm was led by Zhu Zhu. Eccentric Qi, Elder Si, Kuan Ban, and the other experts arrived. Once Zhu Zhu gave the order, Kuan Ban was the first to rush out. The rest, including more than 10 hunters, all rushed out together. Together with 100 cruisers and over 1,000 explorers, they attacked with all their might. All sorts of fire battle techniques were used and they spread into the void crack. On the Royal Frost continent, the Ice Emperor saw the flames spreading in the outer space. He was delighted and retreated. Very quickly, the flames surged in and swept towards the Royal Frost continent. However, the moment the flames reached the continent, they were frozen by the frigid air and transformed into flames that fell down and disappeared. The Ice Emperor said, "These flames aren't enough to resist the frigid air." Luin saw this. "Don't worry, Senior. The Blaze Realm isn't this weak." The Ice Emperor replied, "I know. I've fought with them before." "Kid, although this is the first time we've met, I've seen quite a few videos of you." Luin replied, "Junior's actions are rash. If there's anything that Senior is dissatisfied with, please forgive me." Jeffrey smiled. "You're just a child, so it doesn't matter. As long as the general direction is right, it's fine. Besides, you've helped the Outerverse Lockbreaker Society before. Actually, whether it's me, Shangyang, or Xiaoming, we all look forward to seeing you. The future of the Lockbreaker Society is in the hands of your generation." Lu Yin hurriedly replied, "Thank you for your praise, Senior." Jeffrey nodded and then looked up at the entire Royal Frost continent. The Ice Emperor and Lu Yin did not dare to make a sound, and they quietly soared into the sky. After a while, Jeffrey was startled, and his eyes widened as his body vanished. Even the Ice Emperor did not see how Jeffrey had disappeared, as Jeffrey's power far surpassed his own. The Ice Emperor had originally thought that Jeffrey was just a powerful lockbreaker, but he now realized that this skinny old man's power level was not simple. "Thank you for your support, brothers." Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1232. What else? Did the head judge count? They did not care that Lu Yin cultivated death chi, but what about Elder Chan? Elder Chan had removed the ageless man's authority for Lu Yin's sake, which had caused many people in the Hall of Honor to see that Elder Chan favored Lu Yin. Elder Chan was the true leader of the Hall of Honor, so who would dare to say anything if he favored Lu Yin? Those who had wanted to stop the Great Eastern Alliance from attacking the Blaze Realm all shut their mouths. They had received a warning and their expressions turned ugly. They were on good terms with the Blaze Realm, but even if they were from the Blaze Realm, it was useless. No one from the Hall of Honor dared to interrupt Lu Yin's attack on the Blaze Realm. The Blaze Realm could only rely on the various great powers of the Innerverse, as the Great Eastern Alliance's existence had already violated the Innerverse interests. Logically speaking, the great powers of the Innerverse would not just watch the Great Eastern Alliance attack the Blaze Realm and allow the Great Eastern Alliance to gain a foothold in the blazing mist flow zone. However, the truth was that they did not care. Lu Yin's threat to the great powers from the Sword Sect was still ringing in their ears, and they did not dare to act rashly before Tianji's battle. The various powers' suspicions and fears led to no one supporting the Blaze Realm. The closest ones were the Sylvan Dragons and the Ross Empire, but they were stopped by Leon's armada. They would not act, but they would not allow others to support them either. This was Lu Yin's backup plan. Regardless of whether it was the Sylvan Dragons, the Ross Empire, the Sword Sect, or the One Family, as long as they supported the Blaze Realm, they would all be stopped by Leon's armada. There were 86 members of the Humble Core, and all of them were Enlighters who had awakened after being frozen. This power level had caused the Blazing Mist Flow Zone to suffer heavy losses. At their peak, the Blaze Realm had joined forces with the Ross Empire and the Sylvan Dragons, but they had not been able to take them down. Now she was facing the Humble Core alone. No matter how strong Madame Lan was, she could only fight against the entire Humble Core, and it would be very difficult for her to win. After all, the Humble Core had more than one powerhouse with a power level of over 300,000. In outer space, the Heaven Firestone was thrown towards the sun. The extreme heat baked the universe, and the sun's temperature rose higher and higher. Just as Madame Lan was wondering why the Humble Core did not freeze the sun, she noticed that the sun was shrinking. She looked on in disbelief. The blazing sun had indeed shrunk and finally disappeared. In the starry sky there was only a red stone. Her blazing sun had been absorbed by that stone. Madame Lan immediately tried to grab the stone as it could absorb the sun. This stone was very suitable for the Blaze Realm. But in front of her, it was impossible for the humble soldiers to let her leave so easily. Madame Lan took out a strange treasure. It was unknown what she did, but she actually crossed the humble army and approached the heavenly flame stone with a single step. She raised her hand and was about to grab it. Just as she was about to grab the heavenly flame stone, it disappeared. Madame Lan was taken aback. She looked into the distance and saw a red dot. It was the sky flame stone. At the moment, the sky flame stone was in the hands of a young man who was smiling at her. Madame Lan looked at the young man and narrowed her eyes. Lu Yin. Lu Yin raised his brows. Madame Lan, Mistress Red has treated you so well. Why are you sacrificing yourself for the Blaze Realm? Madame Lan sneered. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1233. Lu Yin didn't even try to dodge. Although Red Lord's ability to use the Red Planet to increase his power level was terrifying, it couldn't hide the fact that he was heavily injured. Even if he increased his power level, he wouldn't be able to reach his peak. Lu Yin's universal armor could block Envoy's attacks. Seeing that his attacks were useless, Red Lord shouted, Lu Yin, I'm on the Red Planet. You can't kill me. Once I recover, will you be able to resist me? Also, the Sylvan Dragons and the Ross Empire will not allow you to take over my Blaze Realm. Retreat and I can pretend that none of this happened. Lu Yin didn't speak and he merely looked at the Red Planet. Red Lord shouted again, Did you hear that, Lu Yin? Retreat from the Blaze Realm. Lu Yin still didn't speak. Red Lord didn't speak either and the Red Planet trembled. It was obvious that something was brewing. Red Lord, Madame Lan is about to die, Lu Yin suddenly said. Red Lord's tone was gloomy. She's not dead yet and she won't die so easily. What makes you say that? Based on this? Lu Yin took out the sphere. Flames raged on the Red Planet, revealing Red Lord's unease. Junior, do you really want to fight to the death with my Blaze Realm? Let me tell you, my Blaze Realm has been in the Innerverse for many years, and we have countless disciples. There are even people from my Blaze Realm in the Hall of Honor. I know that you have a strong background and as long as you retreat, we will have nothing to do with each other. Otherwise, my Blaze Realm disciples will destroy you sooner or later. Lu Yin listened quietly as Red Lord continued, As long as you retreat, the Blaze Realm will be your ally from now on. Lu Yin's eyes lit up. You're willing to ally with my Great Eastern Alliance? Of course, Red Lord replied. Lu Yin thought about it and then slowly descended onto the Red Planet. You won't take this opportunity to attack me, right? Of course not, Alliance Leader Lu. Retreat. The Blaze Realm has a strong foundation and it's not like the Outerverse. Besides, your Outerverse isn't truly unified, just an alliance. My Blaze Realm can also join the Great Eastern Alliance. Lu Yin seemed to be thinking. In front of him, flames condensed and transformed into Red Lord. His rough body was intimidating as he approached Lu Yin. Alliance Leader Lu, the Blaze Realms joining the Great Eastern Alliance is much stronger than those trash from the Outerverse. You only need to retreat. Lu Yin looked at her. Has your poison been cured? Master Hong's eyes flashed with a trace of hatred, but she quickly concealed it. How can mere poison affect me? Alliance Master Lu, what do you think? As he spoke, he took another 2 steps closer. He looked at her feet. Are you confident that you can kill me at this distance? After saying those words, the star-scattered chessboard appeared beneath his feet. Lu Yin's body vanished, and a strand of fiery sword chi shot up into the sky from where he had been standing. It tore through the heavens and cut through the universe, almost splitting the entire Blaze realm in two. This was Crimson Lord's power, and he wanted to kill Lu Yin. However, Lu Yin did not retaliate. Instead, he charged towards the planet's interior. Master Red's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Trying to escape after coming to the Red Planet? You're courting death. As he spoke, the entire Red Planet trembled as the temperature suddenly rose. He wanted to burn Lu Yin alive. Suddenly, black and white flashed in front of him. His mind trembled as he realized that this was a spiritual force attack. This was a battle technique from the Day-Night clan. Outside the Red Planet, an old man appeared. His hair was a mess of black and white, and he looked at the Red Master solemnly. Day-Night Force. Mistress Hong looked up at the old man. There was a loud boom as the fist struck the Red Lord, causing his red star to shatter. The Red Lord spat out a mouthful of blood and his face paled. The giant emperor roared and punched out again. The Red Lord's expression turned sinister. You've gone too far. Another boom rang out as the Red Lord was smashed into the ground by the giant emperor. The giant emperor ferociously stomped on the ground, but Lu Yin hurriedly stopped it. He shifted his gaze and looked at the ground 10,000 meters away from the giant emperor. He placed his right hand on the giant emperor's right arm, and the star chessboard appeared beneath his feet. Underground, the Red Lord's eyes were filled with hatred, and there was a shocking killing intent hidden in the depths of his eyes. The ground around him cracked and floated into space. The entire red star had shattered, and a wisp of flame appeared in his hand. As soon as it appeared, the high temperature around him suddenly disappeared as if it had never existed. There was only a small wisp of flame, and it looked as if it would be extinguished at any moment. However, it was this wisp of flame that caused the Red Lord's eyes to burn with passion. Of all the treasures left behind by that damned old bastard, this wisp of flame is the most valuable. Unfortunately, I'll have to use it. The flame danced and gradually transformed into a long sword that pulsed with sword chi. It was somewhat similar to the Karmic Flame Sword. The so-called Karmic Flame Sword was a battle technique that absorbed the karmic flames of the Karmic Flame Sword. The trigger was the karmic flames, but it did not necessarily have to be karmic flames. The Red Lord endured his injuries and took out this wisp of flame. What followed was the pain of being burned by the high temperature. In his heavily injured state, it was difficult for him to use this wisp of flame. Even if he did use it, he would definitely be burned by the flames afterwards. Although he would not die, it would be no different from death and he would suffer immense pain. However, in his current situation he had no choice but to use it. The Red Lord's fervent gaze turned sinister. You forced me to do this, Lu Yin. What did I force you to do? Lu Yin's voice rang out from behind the Red Lord. The Red Lord was shocked. A secret technique? The Red Lord turned around and struck out with a palm that carried a flame imprint. This was the Blaze Realm's battle technique, Soft Palm. Lu Yin took out the single-sided mirror with his left hand while the giant's right arm punched out at the Red Lord's arm with his right. As the Crimson Lord's soft palm neared Lu Yin, his star energy was suddenly uncontrollably absorbed by the single-sided mirror. His entire body was smashed into the ground by Lu Yin's fist, and the wisp of flame that he had just summoned fell out of his control. It then spread out and burned the sky. Lu Yin's eyes narrowed, and he hurriedly took out a Heaven Fire Stone to absorb the flame. However, the flame was too fierce, and even the Heaven Fire Stone could not absorb it all in time. Fortunately, Lu Yin was wearing his universal armor, or else he would have been turned to dust by the flames. Even though Lu Yin dodged, the giant emperor could not and was vaporized by the flames. The flames burned the red planet and then spread out into outer space. Planets that came into contact with the flames turned into seas of fire, and the creatures on them fled in fear. However, they were all burned to ashes in the end. The old chain smoker was nowhere to be seen. Elder Tan fled the moment he saw the flames. He was someone who played with fire, and it was obvious that he could not touch this type of flame. Duan Day-Night also retreated far away and looked at the red planet. He did not dare to touch this type of flame either.